Recently, I saw a trailer for the Plague Tale Innocence. To my luck, the game was 25% off in the Steam summer sale. Still, the price of the game was about 30 euros. And now you're probably wondering, is the Plague Tale Innocence worth this price? Well, let me help you make your decision with this video. Hey guys, it's Kyo and let's do a review for the Plague Tale Innocence. Before we start this video, I just want to point out that there are no spoilers in this video. All story footage you will see in this video is from the first 30 minutes of gameplay. All other gameplay has no dialogue or context to it. Also, check out the timestamps in the video description to skip ahead to different segments of the video. Alright, let's get into this video and start with the story and the atmosphere. The Plague Tale Innocence is set in 14th century France, exactly in the time frame of the Black Death or the Plague. You play as Amicia de Rune, a girl born in a noble family and thus lived a life of privilege and wealth. The story starts with Amicia, who goes hunting with her father, Robert de Rune. When you start here, the game is immediately stunning in terms of its visuals. I think this is one of the best looking games I have played in a long time. I don't want to say it topped to Witcher 3, but it sure got close, or even on the same level of that game in terms of graphics. Just a few minutes into the story, the game takes a grim turn, and this grim atmosphere stays for the duration of the game. Without spoiling too much and leaving out some important details, you have to save your brother Hugo from a mysterious disease that runs through your family's veins. So far, there was no cure for this disease, and you, Amicia, are set out to find a cure for this disease. As you might expect, this doesn't go without any obstacles. You will soon notice that there is a horrible rat plague that comes out of nowhere. These rats aren't so nice, they consume everything that lives. You want to avoid these little bastards as much as possible, since there is no real way of beating them. However, you will soon find out that the light scares them away. Oh, and if you're a fan of Stranger Things, you know, that Netflix show, then you are probably going to have a great time playing this game. Without spoiling the show, there are some familiar elements that I could personally link to the first 2 seasons of that show. For example, the caves with the black goo on the sides of the wall. And the rats? Well, just start watching season 3 of Stranger Things. You will know soon enough. Next to the rat plague, the Inquisition is also looking for Hugo because of his mysterious disease. This is another factor that plays a big role in the story of the game. Although you might not know why they want your brother, you know for certain that you have to avoid these fellas as much as possible. These 3 factors, Hugo's mysterious disease, the rat plague, and why the Inquisition is looking for Hugo, are the 3 main story elements in the game. Before I want to talk about the gameplay of this game, I want to point out the music and the atmosphere of the Plague Tale Innocence. As I have stated before, the game takes a grim turn at the start of the story. The music and the environment really reflect this grim atmosphere. Should I get my boy Gerald out for this one? Yeah? Okay. Well, the music reminds me a lot of The Witcher 3, an easy medieval tune when you are at ease, and highly tense, almost horror movie-like music when you are in danger. When you are in a tense moment or when you have to hurry up, the music and sound effects really tend to reflect that sense of urgency. Let me show a fragment of what I mean.
I hope you have your sling.
Of course.
Come on then.
Where are we going?
Come on, just run as fast as you can. There, the wall.
They're coming!
Before I want to move on to the gameplay part of this video, I briefly want to talk about the voice acting. It's good. Amicia, Hugo and the other characters in the game have great dialogues and great voice acting. Most of their voice lines in dialogues or cinematics are really convincing. Although they sound great, you can still hear that the voice actors are mimicking a French accent, but that doesn't really bother me too much. At some moments this can kind of ruin the convincing part of the voice acting, but as I've stated before, for the most part it is really well done. Not bothersome at all.
You're safe. They'll never come looking for you here. You're so king. There are clothes you can change into upstairs. In a chest in the bedroom.
Are you sure? Thank you.
Alright, let's discuss the most important feature of any game, the gameplay. Let me tell you where this game is really great at. Creating a sense of urgency. At one point you are at ease, talking to your little brother, and when you walk around the corner, tense music starts playing and you have to run for your life. While you are on your way to cure little Hugo's mysterious disease, you won't be able to fight the rats or the Inquisition head on. You will have to sneak and make your way past through the rats or the Inquisition. The sneak elements in the game are really well done. They remind me of the Assassin's Creed games, but they feel less clunky. For example, when I played Assassin's Creed, especially Unity, I really had trouble to stay hidden and move between objects to stay hidden. In the Plague Tale Innocence, this is really well executed and I had no trouble to stay hidden or run when I had to run. If you want to purchase this game on Steam, I would advise you to disable the Shift Tab Steam overlay. This can be troublesome in some cases if you want to run by using the Shift key and quickly access your inventory using the Tab key. This happened to me a couple of times, and because of this I died and I had to redo some instances of the story. You can leave it on if you want to, but it bugged me out a little bit. Along the way you will find some new allies that can accompany you through your journey. These allies all have a special ability that you can use in some instances. For example, one ally that you will meet halfway through the game can take out enemy guards from behind. This was something that made me smile a little bit, since it reminded me of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. In that game you could also use your allies or assassins to take out an enemy silently. This blends in nicely into the next topic I want to talk about, the puzzles. The puzzles are a big part of this game. Although I would not label the Plague Tale as a puzzle game, it does have a considerable amount of puzzles. By this I don't mean the pull one box under one door and use it to get up to something puzzles. Well, it does have some of those. I mean the puzzles where you have to create a path for yourself through the rats and the Inquisition. You will have to cleverly use your surroundings to get past. For example, you can throw a stone on a pile of armor that makes a sound. It distracts the guards and allows you to quietly walk past them. Although there are also several puzzles that use light to get past those nasty rats. Although there are a lot of puzzles in the Plague Tale Innocence, they aren't incredibly hard. There are some puzzles that you might have to spend some time on, but it's not something that you couldn't get done by trial and error. There was one puzzle that took me a little while to get through. It was a castle full of rats and you had to light the braziers in a specific order and move certain elements to get past the rats. But, as I've stated before, nothing that is incredibly hard. I think everyone should be able to get through most of the puzzles rather easy if you just spend a little bit of effort. Luckily, you won't have to use just stones and light to get past your enemies. Along the way, you will find different recipes that allow you to craft extra items. With these items, you can use more elements of the environment to your advantage. This naturally makes the puzzles you encounter a little bit harder since you have more abilities that you can use or have to use to get past your enemies. Amicia, the main character, can also use her slingshot to solve puzzles or defeat some members of the Inquisition. You can further upgrade this slingshot alongside other mixtures at a crafting table. Along the way you will find plenty of supplies that can help you craft mixtures or upgrade your equipment at a crafting table. You can craft mixtures at any time you want as long as you have the ingredients. However, upgrades to these mixtures or your equipment can only be done at a crafting table. Luckily, these crafting tables are all across the world and you won't have to look far to find one. Just make sure you save up enough supplies to upgrade that piece of equipment that you might want. Before I want to get to my verdict and sum up the video, I want to have a look at collections. This game is full of collectibles. At first I was determined to find all of them. However, I soon realized that I was already ahead a couple of chapters and was missing half of the collectibles. These collectible items could be necklaces, maps, flowers or something else entirely. You can distinguish these collectibles by a shiny glimpse and a unique magnifying glass icon. Collecting all these collectibles can give you some extra backstory about the characters or the time frame the game is set in. If you want to spend some extra time in the game, or if you are a big enthusiast about collections, I would recommend you to have a look out for them and collect as many as you can. Alright, my verdict. I had a great time playing the Plague Tale Innocence. Most of my free time went to playing MMOs or games that don't have too much story attached to them. So playing the Plague Tale was a breath of fresh air. The story consists out of 17 chapters which all take about 30 to 60 minutes to complete. I've read and watched some reviews that stated that you could play the game for about 15 hours. However, I beat the game in about 9 to 10 hours. This highly depends on how you play the game. Do you want to collect every collectible and do you want to find some of the hidden achievements? If so, then yes, you could definitely play this game for 15 hours. If not, I'd say that you can beat the story in about 10 hours. But was it worth my money? For me, it sure was. I really needed a good story game that I could sink my teeth into. Something that wasn't too hard and where I wouldn't have to redo certain sections because I kept failing. My advice to you is, do you really like story-driven games, sneak elements and puzzles? Then yes, pick up the Plague Tale Innocence. If one of these options doesn't appeal to you, I would wait for it to go on sale again. Either way, it was a really enjoyable game that I would recommend to others. Do you still have a question about the game? Make sure to leave it in the comments. I tend to respond fairly quick. If you want to support my YouTube channel, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe and share this video with your gaming buddies. Also, let me know if you like these review videos. If that is the case, I will sure do more of them in the future. For now, I would like to thank you all so much for watching and I hope to see you all in the next one. Peace!